Welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about Diablo-like dungeon generator. In this video we are going to add a simple logic to spawn background tiles. So I never spoke about them. So what are they? Background tiles are tiles that are going to spawn around our dungeon. So if our dungeon is looking like this, background tiles are going to spawn everywhere around our tiles where there is a free space. So if this is a background tile, we are going to generate background tiles like this all around. So maybe not in the angles, I'm not sure yet. So it's going to spawn background tiles like that. And I think we'll need to actually spawn background tiles in the angles, but we'll see. For now, we are just going to build a logic that spawns background tiles around our dungeon, like that. So if we go back in here, in our dungeon generator, we can, when we generate our level, we are actually generating the layout. We are calculating the layout. And in this function, we are adding our end tile, and we're going to add a new function in there that is going to say add background tile to layout. And we're going to drag and drop that function. We're actually going to create a new folder called background tile. Add background to tile layout. Is this the same? Create force tile, generic tile. I want to make sure this is the same naming convention than the rest of our function, and it's not really the same. Create background layout. Oh, actually this is because I put that in our generation folder. Generate additional tile layout. I'm going to copy paste that in here. Generate background tile layout, and I'm going to put that in our generation folder. We're going to go back to our calculate layout function, and we're going to drag and drop that. Generate background tile layout. Actually, we are going to check when we generate our level. Okay, so it's going to execute everything, including that function. Generate background tile layouts. We want to loop through our list of tiles. So we want to loop through every tile we got. We want to get the location around, get the tile around, get location around, get locations around. We want to loop through them, and we want to say, so we need, I was just thinking about the fact that we need a new tile template, which is going to be background tile. So adding a new tile, background tile. We're going to hit save. We're going to hit compile in our level generator. And then we want to say that is the location used. If the location is not used, what do we want to do? We want to add tile to the layout, but we don't want that to be connected. So we are just going to go to our tile layout function. We actually just want to connect the background tile to the generic tile, to the tile it is attached to, but we don't want the tile it is attached to be connected to the background tile. So in here, we're going to say that we don't want, so in here, we don't have the type of the tile we are creating. So I want to know where we are calling that function. We're calling it here and there. So I want to retrieve the type of the tile in here to connect them, only to connect that if the tile, or actually I'm just going to redo the logic manually. That's going to be much simpler than trying to pass all the parameters I need. So when we actually generate the background, we don't want to add the tile to the layout. We actually want to manually add something to the layout. So what is that something? That something is a background tile. We want to make empty directions for now. Do we? No, we don't want to make empty directions. What do we have in here? Yes, we do want empty directions for now. The length, we do not care about the length. And where do we want to add that? We want to delete all the wires, everything for now. Where are we adding that? We are adding that in here. This is the background tile with no direction. And we want to set the connections enabled of the tile we just created from where am I coming from? I need to ask where am I coming from? I'm coming from this tile to the first tile, like that. I want to hit compile, hit save. So right now we are generating the background tile, but if I'm hitting play, it's going to throw errors at us, or maybe even an infinite loop. So I hit save before. So the background tiles are of type start tile. Why? Because when we get tile class, we actually return by default a start tile if we don't find any replacement tile. I mean, if we don't find the type of the tile we need to spawn, we return the start tile. So what I want to do here is actually duplicate all our generic tiles. I want to grab that and drop that on our tile folder. I want to copy here. And I want to create a new folder, which is called, how it is going to be called? Background tiles, of course. Background tiles. I want to go to our generic tile folder. And I don't want, I actually failed. I want to delete all of these tiles. I want to delete them. Delete. These are the tiles I previously copied. I don't want to copy them, and I want them to have 0, 1 at the end. So I will grab all of them and I will drop them on the background tiles. I will copy them here. And in here, I'm going to say this is going to be ended with BG, which is going to be background, like that. And I'm going to add BG at the end of each of these tiles. Then what I'm going to do is we are actually going to create a new tile, a new child class of our tile blueprint. We're going to create a child class of this, of our BP tile. This is going to be BP background tile. We're going to control to save, open up this. We're going to say the background tile is of color. We're going to create a new color. I'm going to duplicate the light gray. I'm going to make that dark gray. I'm going to open that up to make that way darker. I'm going to hit save. And I want our background tile to be of that color. And the walls as well, all the walls, everything is going to be gray in there. Everything is going to be gray, even the pillars, like that. I'm going to hit save, hit compile. And then I'm going to say that tile is of type background tile. I'm going to hit compile, hit save, close that up. Then I'm going to go back to our background tile folder and I'm going to open up each of these tiles. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to go to our class settings tab and I'm going to say these tiles are of type background tile, reparent. Then I'm going to go to our viewport and it's going to bug. Yep, it's going to bug, it's going to consider, yep, all values are. So this is unfortunate. Okay, so I think I know how we can trick that. So we're going to say this is a generic tile. We're going to reverse what we just did. We're going to hit compile, hit save. We're going to close everything. We're going to go to our tile folder, open up our background tile, open that up, put a branch so it never goes back to what it was. We're going to grab all of the static meshes and we're going to say they are of type light gray. We're going to trick what's happening in there. I said light gray. So everything is light gray. This is going to be a generic tile. We're going to hit compile, hit save, like that. So if I'm going back to our, I want to make sure this is light gray. So this is not light gray. This is basic shape material and the ground is light gray. So I want our background tile to be exactly the same than this tile. So I want the basic shape material. I want to apply that to every static mesh but the floor, like that. So I think this way the background tile is similar to the generic tile or at least the BP tile. So if I'm going back to our BP tile, so this is considering, okay, this is considering that it's not like default. Maybe it won't work what I want to do, but we'll see, we'll see. So all the background tiles, we're opening them up. And then we'll check the class defaults, we'll check the viewport, and we'll say that in the class defaults, in the class settings, we'll say this is a background tile, like that, reparent. We're going to do that for each of these tiles, like that. So this is kind of dirty, but at least we are keeping all the connections we set up for our generic tiles. Like that. So I'm going to quickly end up this task with my shortcut skills. I'm sorry if this is not really thrilling, but it's needed. So we reparented all of them. We're going to hit Ctrl S. We're going to close them up. We're going to open one of them. I'm going to check what color it has. I'm going to open up our background tile in the same time. I'm going to check what color it has. Then I'm going to change the color of the floor to dark gray. I'm going to hit compile, hit save. I'm going to go back to our corner and it changed the color of the floor. So my little trick, it appears that my little trick worked. And if I'm saying the tile type is a background tile, I'm hitting compile, hitting save. I'm going to hit Ctrl S once again, going back to our corner. Class defaults, it's considered to be a background tile. and it has a gray floor. So I think each tile, it worked on each tile, like that, on each background tile we created. So we're going to go back to our level generator, variable, matrix, tiles. We're going to duplicate our generic tile folder. We're going to call that background tiles. Then we're going to hit compile, hit save, and we're going to replace each of these with the BG occurrence, with the BG, the background alternate version of this, BG, BG. Okay, so I can just simply fill them like that quickly. So you might actually want to create a C++ function that actually browse your hierarchy, content hierarchy, and automatically fills these arrays with the proper values. If you set up your name properly, you can actually find the tiles by their prefixes and affix and suffixes. But since we are only dealing with 15 of them, I'm doing this manually. So we have an array of background tiles, and we just want to copy paste the logic we are using for our generic tiles in our getTile class function. And we want to say that if we don't find if the tile we are trying to create is of type, oh, there is an equal there, we're going to get rid of that. If the tile we're trying to create is of type background, we are going to loop through our background tile array, and we're going to return the style we found in this array. And if it's not of that type, we're going to return start tile by default. We're going to hit compile, hit save. It's throwing an error because the connections are not matching. So we want to pass the direction like that. We want to hit compile, hit save, hit play. And we have lots of background tiles around us. And it seems that they are oriented towards the wrong directions, the wrong direction. And I'm afraid, yes, they are oriented towards the wrong direction. So we are going to revert the cardinal when we actually generate our background in here. We want to revert that cardinal like that. We want to hit compile, hit play. So it's creating a lot of background tiles. And I think we want to create tiles at the angles. So when we get the locations around, I think we'll also loop in the corners of that tile. So if I'm increasing this from that amount, this is northeast, I want northwest, for instance. I'm going to pull that below. So this is northwest, this is southeast, and this is southwest, if I'm not mistaken. I want to promote that. I want to make an array of that. Make array. And what do I want to do? I want to do the same thing I did for the location surround, but I don't want to connect them with the tile we are initially looping through. I want to connect them to the background tiles around them. So I actually want to loop through that. So these locations, and I want to say is the locations not used. We are just going to, for now, we are just going to do the same thing. We're going to copy paste. We're going to see if we factorize afterwards, like this. So if the location is not used, we're going to add a tile to this layout, but what it is going to be connected to. So this is not actually possible. We want to check if the location is used by a background tile. So we want to find that location. We want to check if the tile is of type background. So is the location used and of type background? We actually want to add a tile to the layouts. So if the location is, okay, sorry, so is the location around that? We are checking the angles around all the tiles. If the location is not used and the tile around that point, so we actually need to loop through all our background tiles. Now we want to check the angles. Are the angles not used? If so, we add a background tile, but the problem is to what? What are we connecting it to? Maybe we can just get the tiles around. So if the location is not used, we're going to find a random locations around that. We want to get the locations around. We want to loop through them. And we want to say, we want to find that location in our layout. We want to say, is this location a background tile? We will connect the background tile we create in the angle to the tile we find that is a background tile. And if we don't find any background tile, we are not going to create that. So let's plug that. We want to add a background tile. Where do we want to add it? We want to add it in here. This is a background tile, and the background tile is connected to from the tile we added to the tile we found in the locations around, like that. And we want that tile. It's a bit complicated. I'm going to rewire this. Real quick, just so we can clearly see what's going on in there. Like that. Like that. Oh gosh, there's a lot of wires in there. So this is that one. And we want to rewire that as well. And what is this tile? This tile is the new one we are looping through. So this is a background tile. We want to connect that and we want to break that loop. So let's just pull a break loop. Let's reverse their positions. Let's delete the previous loop and let's break the loop when we generate the background tile. Like that. So if I'm hitting compile, hitting play, hitting save, hitting play, it actually generates our background tiles properly. Maybe we shall connect background tiles together. It actually connected all together. That's quite strange actually. That's because they are, okay, that's, I know why. Because we are looping through them if they are not connected. No, that's strange. So what do I want here? I want to have all tiles. Maybe we need 3 ways. Maybe we need to connect them all together. So we're just going to remove the logic for now. We're going to hit play. And this is going to wrap up that video. In the next one, we're going to add background tiles around these locations, and we're going to make sure everything works. I want to end up that video with something that works. So this is working. Every background tiles have the proper rotations. So that's what I wanted. So this is going to wrap up the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.